Alright guys, so this is the last video I'll be making for you before your quiz that will be posted tomorrow morning, Tuesday morning, and will be due at midnight on Wednesday. Guys, I have been going back and giving you credit for things that you've completed late. You can't complete this late, guys. Once midnight Wednesday comes, you will not be allowed to access the quiz anymore. Don't mess around. Get it done. Okay? Alright, so the first problem that you had on the stuff that was due on Friday, that I posted on Thursday, was this problem. No, this wasn't the first problem, but this was the first problem that most of you had some difficulty with. You had square root of 2x plus 5 plus 3 equals 0. Now, ladies and gentlemen, most of you started out pretty well. You did the square root of 2x plus 5, and you subtracted the 3, and you got equals negative 3. Then you squared both sides. You got 2x plus 5 equals 9. Then you subtracted 5, and you got 2x equals 4. And most of you divided by 2, and you told me that x equals 2. And if you stop there, you got about half credit. And the main reason for that is I told you guys you have to check for extraneous answers. There were some of you that I noticed, those of you that show your work, which is very helpful if you want partial credit. If you're just putting answers on there, if the answers are wrong, you're not getting much credit, guys. I told you, you have to go back. Now, some of you noticed at this step right here, oh, I need the square root of something and it's a negative number. Well, that would be an imaginary number. So maybe this 2 isn't a good answer. So let's find out. So then you said, and I was proud of a lot of you because you showed me your work. 2 times 2 plus 5 plus 3 equals 0. Well, the square root, 2 times 2 is 4 plus 5, so I want the square root of 9 plus 3 equals 0. 3 plus 3 equals 0. 6 equals 0. Is that a true statement, guys? No. That means that 2 is an extraneous solution. And since 2 is the only solution, there is actually no solution to this problem. You've got to check your answers, guys. If you're not checking your answers, you're not going to get it right. And if you're not going to show me your work, you're going to have to show me your work on your quiz. But if you're not showing me your work on this homework, I can't give you full credit, or I can't give you, partial credit for if you get something wrong, because I don't know where you're going wrong. All right, the next problem. You have the cube root of 4x minus 3 plus 2 equal to 0. And again, many of you did this correctly, so you have the cube root of 4x minus 3 equals negative 2. Now, here's where some of you messed up. Guys, if you cube both sides, you do get 4x minus 3. What is negative 2 cubed? Negative 2 times negative 2 is 4. 4 times negative 2 is negative 8. There was a lot of you that when you showed me your work, you told me that was positive 8. I was like, oops, that's not right. All right. But then we continue on with the problem. Plus 3. So you get 4x. Now, some of you told me that this is positive 5. How is negative 8 plus 3 positive 5? It's negative 5, guys. Then you just divide by 4. You get x equals negative 5 over 4. Now, you do have to check to make sure it's not extraneous. So you have the cube root of 4 times negative 5 over 4 minus 3 plus 2 is equal to 0. So 4 times negative 5 fourths, so I have the cube root of negative 5 minus 3 plus 2 equals 0, or the cube root of negative 8 plus 2 is equal to 0, or negative 2 plus 2 is equal to 0, 0 equals 0. That checks, so this answer, this negative 5/4, is correct. All right, so that was the 2 out of the first 6 that you all missed. Now the last 4, I'm going to do 3 of them. You guys are having some difficulty with the common denominator, and it's really not as hard as you're making it. Okay, so let's take a look at x equals 3 over x plus 1/2. Well, first off, you have to realize that x cannot equal 0. Okay, now what's the common factor? I have 2 times x, so I multiply everything by 2x. So I have 2x times all of this. X equals 3 over x plus 1/2. Now, 2 times x is 2x squared. Some of you tried to tell me that that was just x. I'm like, what? So I get 2x squared equals, now the x's cancel here, so I have 2 times 3. That is 6. Now in the next part, the 2's cancel, so I have x times 1. Well, x times 1 is x. Now I want to make this equal to 0, so I'm going to leave the 2x squared by itself. So I've got 2x squared minus x minus 6 equals 0. And I know that some of you are having problems with factoring. I don't know what to tell you. If I could pull you in for flex or something like that, I'd be more than happy to do so, but that's kind of hard to do. So this is going to be 2, this is going to be 3. So this is going to be negative, this is going to be a positive. Okay. So then we have 2x plus 3 equals 0. X minus 2 equals 0. So we end up with x equals negative 3 over 2. And we have x equals 2. Are you done yet? No. You do need to check. All right. So let's plug this in. So we have x equals negative 3 over 2. So we have negative 3 over 2 equals 3 divided by negative 3 over 2 plus 1/2. Okay, so the 3 divided by negative 3 over 2 is the same thing as 3 times 2 over negative 3. So that cancels out, and this becomes negative 2. So I have negative 2 plus 1/2, and that is negative 3 over 2. So that's good. Now I've got to check my 2. Well, that one should be easier. 2 equals 3 over 2 plus 1 over 2. Well, 3 halves plus another half is 2. Both of them check. Both of them are correct. And neither one of them are in the restricted zone because neither one of them are 0. All right, next one. 4 over x plus 1 minus 3 over x plus 2 equals 1. Okay, first off, what are my things that x cannot equal? X cannot equal negative 1. X cannot equal negative 2. All right, so what is my least common multiple? We'll take x plus 1 times x plus 2 times 1. So multiply everything by x plus 1 and x plus 2. Four over x plus 1 minus 3 over x plus 2 equals 1. Alright, so the x plus 1's in the first one cancel out, so I have 4 times x plus 2. Please make sure you distribute. So you get 4x plus 8. Now in the second one, I have a minus sign, so I'm going to make sure that I do this. I have x plus 2 that cancels out, so I have x plus 1 times 3, so that's going to be minus 3x plus 3. And then I have 1 times x plus 1 times x plus 2. Well, I'm going to go ahead and FOIL that out. So it's x squared plus 3x plus 2. Now it's just algebra time. 4x minus 3x is 1x. 8 minus 3 is 5. Okay, now I'm going to make this equal to 0 by subtracting 1x from both sides, subtracting 5. So subtract 1x, subtract 5. And you get 0 equals x squared plus 2x minus 3. Factor this, get x plus 3x minus 1. Okay, so that gives me x equals 3 and x equals 1. X equals negative 3. Alright, well 1 and negative 3, both of those are good. So all we got to do is check it now. So I've got 4 over negative 3 plus 1 is 2, negative 2, minus 3 over negative 3 plus 2 is negative 1, should equal 1. Well, 4 divided by negative 2 is negative 2, minus negative 3 equals 1. Does 1 equal 1? Yes. Now I have, let's plug in 1. So I have 4 over 2 minus 3 over 3 should equal 1. Well, does 2 minus 1 equal 1? Yes. So both of my answers are good, negative 3 and positive 1. All right. Again, guys, you've got to be showing your check. Daniela, I'm going to call you out because you're doing a great job of doing that. I really appreciate everything that you're doing. And since you're coming first alphabetically, since one student isn't doing any work, you're doing a great. I really appreciate how well you're doing, and you're setting the tone for everybody else. So great job, Daniela. All right. I also appreciate Brent and Alex, the way that you guys are writing your words out when you're doing the problems. That's actually very helpful. You're forgetting to do this correction, the check, but you're doing a good job with the rest of the problem. All right, last problem. 4x plus 1 equals 3 over x. Okay, what can x not equal? X cannot equal 0. All right, the least common multiple is x, so I'm going to take everything and multiply it by x. So I have x times 4x plus 1 equals 3 over x. All right, x times 4x is 4x squared. 1 times x is x, or 1x. And the x's cancel here, and I get 3. For some reason, the 4 times 4x is, or the x times 4x is really messing you all up. So I get 4x squared plus 1x minus 3 equals 0. And this shouldn't be too hard of a factor. This is 4x. This is x. This is 3. This is 1. Okay, so I get 4x minus 3 equals 0. X plus 1 equals 0. So then I end up with x equals 3 over 4. X equals negative 1. Both of those are fine according to my restrictions. So let's check them both out. 4 times 3/4 plus 1 should be 3 over 3/4. So this becomes 3 plus 1 equals 4. Hopefully you see that 3 divided by 3/4 is 4, so 4 equals 4. And now we plug in negative 1. So 4 times negative 1 plus 1 equals 3 over negative 1. Well, 4 times negative 1 is negative 3, plus 1. 3 divided by negative 1 is negative, that's negative 4. Negative 3. Negative 4 plus 1 is negative 3. Does negative 3 equal negative 3? Yes. So are both of our answers sufficient? Yes. Okay. On this second part, guys, there were actually no solutions that were extraneous on the second part, but most of you got caught on that first one in the first half. So make sure you're checking their answers. All right. That's it for today. Quiz gets posted tomorrow. Have a great day.